Vincent Peale wrote the book The Power of Positive Thinking. Introduction. Why should I do it? Read a classic self-help book to get new ideas. The Power of Positive Thinking is one of the most important self-help books ever written in America. It was one of the first books to show how changing the way you think can change things you thought were set in stone. This makes it an important part of American pop culture history. The book was a huge hit when it came out, selling at least 5 million copies, and it is still widely read. Even though the book was popular, it was still very controversial. Both the author's arguments and the way he presented information were and still are very controversial. Still, many people still praise the book for what it says about how to think positively. They have changed their lives by using the methods in the book, and they are thankful for the results they've seen. Even if you don't agree with all of the author's points, this summary will show you that a happy, healthy life requires self-confidence, a focus on positive outcomes, and appreciation for the people around you. In this short summary, you'll find out how your thoughts affect what happens to you, how going for a walk in the woods can help you deal with the problems of modern life, and how your faith can help you clarify your goals. Main idea 1. Why does having confidence in yourself lead to success? Anxiety and feelings of being less than others are like a modern plague. People often feel like there are problems everywhere they look. This makes them feel overwhelmed, so they try to blame others or their situation instead of working to change it. In some ways, this is true. If you feel bad about yourself or think negatively, you're more likely to have bad things happen to you. For example, if you start a new job thinking that you'll never fit in and that no one will like you, you'll make that happen. Once you've been told that you're not good enough, you're more likely to feel bad about the future. This creates a vicious cycle that seems impossible to break. Yet it's not impossible. If you have confidence in yourself, you can make your life what you want it to be. For example, the author knew a man who had lost everything but got his energy and desire to live back by making a list of all the good things he still had in his life. By focusing on these things, he changed his way of thinking in a way that was healthier. But if you want to change your situation, you have to change the way you think about it instead of just accepting it. Just like the man in the example, you can overcome any problems in your life by focusing on the good and believing you will succeed. One way to do this is to first picture the good things you want to happen to you and then your problems. Compared to the other problems, these ones seem smaller and easier to solve. For example, the author's magazine, Guideposts, had a big problem that was solved in a strange way. The staff actively imagined getting more subscribers during a meeting. The end. Still, this wishful thinking led to a real rise in the number of people who read them. Main idea 2. How caring about other people will make them care about you, too. People have always wanted to be liked and appreciated. We are social animals who need friends, but so many people only care about themselves. As a result, many people also feel like they are not wanted or needed by others. There are things we can do to make ourselves more likable. First, you need to realize that your attitude is the reason why other people don't like you. You can change your attitude and be liked by others if you learn to be a comfortable person. The former Postmaster General of the United States, James A. Farley, is a great example of a person who is at ease with themselves. He had the right attitude, so almost everyone liked him. Others thought he was natural, honest, and comfortably outgoing. Think for a minute about the people you like the most. Do they always talk about themselves, or do they show interest in you? They probably care about you, and you should care about them too. People will want to be friends with you if you think well of them and show that you care about what they do, who they are, etc. For instance, the author once helped a man at his clinic who thought everyone disliked him. He eventually realized that this was because he loved himself too much and was too focused on himself. So, he made a list of everyone he met every day and worked hard to talk to them and get to know them as people. By turning his attention away from himself and toward other people, he was soon loved and appreciated. There are always people who are hard to get along with. But even they have hidden good qualities that you can find if you try. Main idea 3. Not alone. Why you shouldn't face your problems alone. Do you ever feel like no one else could do your job as well as you can? Everything would fall apart without you? For many people, this kind of attitude leads to a heavy load of problems and depression. And when you feel sad and overwhelmed by your problems, do you ever think, no one in the whole world has ever had the same problems as me? Even though it might feel like that, this way of thinking isn't true. Millions of other people have the same problems. This bit of truth is wise. Nothing is ever hopeless. Imagine that there are people who have been through every imaginable hard situation and still found a way to keep going, even when they felt hopeless. On the other hand, having bad thoughts, giving up hope, and isolating yourself usually lead to sadness and failure. To stop this from happening, you can do things like keep motivational notes that show how powerful your positive thoughts are. Also, sometimes our sense of self-importance can make us feel as if we are carrying the world and all its problems on our shoulders. But if you make every problem your own, you're less likely to solve any. This is because we only have so much time to solve what seems like a lot of problems. Trying to solve everything at once makes you rush, feel stressed, and lose focus. You can get rid of this stress, though, by praying or meditating. You can also give tasks to other people and organize yourself to get better results and be healthier. In the end, you'll have better results and a healthier life if you accept that you, your skills, and your problems are not completely unique. Main idea 4. Attitude. Why how you think about your problems is the key to solving them. Have you ever felt like all your problems were too much to handle? Some of them might be real and important, like debt or illness, but the most important thing is how you deal with them. Debts take time to pay off, and diseases don't go away with the wave of a wand, but you can change your attitude in an instant. If you live your life with a focus on being positive and finding inner peace, you'll have enough energy to solve the problems you think you have. In reality, it's easy to set up your life in a way that brings you peace. For example, the author once had breakfast with two people who had very different nights. One had watched the news and slept badly, while the other had read the Bible and slept well. Even though this may seem unimportant, we need to sleep because it gives us energy. Getting an earful of trouble while you sleep, like by watching the news, will make you feel restless and keep you from solving your problems. You have the power to change this important source of energy in a good way. Most people, on the other hand, think that their situation is due to outside forces and dumb luck. But the truth is that your world is just the thoughts you have about your life. If you think positively, you create positive forces that lead to positive results. On the other hand, when you think negatively, you get negative results, and this kind of thinking can even make you sick. This principle can be seen in action by looking at a young man the author calls one of the most complete failures he has ever met. Because he wouldn't look at his attitude, he couldn't make any good changes in his life for a long time. But when he realized that his bad life was because of his negative thoughts, he was able to make things better. Main idea 5. Don't worry, be happy. How to stop worrying, which is bad for you. It's normal to worry or feel insecure. But while it's normal to worry about things like your finances or health, it's also unhealthy and can make you sick or make you change in ways you don't want. Worrying is just a habit, which means it can be broken. This is a bad habit that causes a lot of physical and mental health problems, so it's especially important to break. For example, the stress of worrying can cause high blood pressure, a shorter life expectancy, and even arthritis. Worrying is a bad habit, but it's surprisingly easy to break. All you have to do is believe that you can stop worrying. If you can imagine a life without worries, you can live it. You can get a handle on your bad habit and eventually break it in a number of ways. All of these techniques have one thing in common: you have to practice training your mind, which means getting rid of negative thoughts that are too much. This is especially important before bed, when our thoughts go deeper into our subconscious. Fears, worries, and other negative thoughts can stop the flow of mental and spiritual power if you don't get rid of them before they sink into your subconscious. But it's not enough to just empty your mind. You have to fill it back up again, this time with good thoughts to replace the bad ones. These are the kinds of thoughts that make you feel hopeful, brave, and confident. If you want to make a positive change, you have to keep at it by practicing every day, even if it's hard at first. Main idea 6. Don't be so hard on yourself. Why you should choose happiness. We all know that modern life can be busy and overstimulating at times. As a result, many people now often have trouble sleeping, stress, and headaches. Most people are unhappy with their lives, but they can't seem to find a way out. In fact, many people hurt themselves physically and emotionally by trying to keep up with the fast pace of modern life. The feverishly accelerated speed of life today can cause serious mental illnesses like chronic fatigue and frustration. Because of this, it's important to find ways to deal with the stress and anxiety that come with modern life. For example, the author often found the stress of modern life to be too much to handle, especially when he was in a big city like New York. He found that going out into the woods helped him get rid of that stress. In the end, being unhappy because of these things is not a given, it is a choice that can be made or undone. There are real social situations that can make people unhappy, like being poor or out of work. But how we feel about these things is more important than the things themselves. They can either make us more unhappy or help us choose happiness in the face of problems. If we choose to be unhappy, we can get stuck in a loop where we see everything negatively, which makes us unhappy again. Children are living proof of this idea. They are experts in happiness, And because they are not super sophisticated, they haven't yet learned that society expects them to be unhappy. Seventh idea. Don't give up. Why you should always try to look on the bright side, even when bad things are happening. Have you ever gone to an important meeting completely unprepared? Isn't it a horrible feeling? It's important to be ready for possible problems, but if we expect the worst, even in theory, we're more likely to have bad things happen. In fact, when you think about the worst things that could happen, you stop the flow of power and lose the ability to deal with problems. Even if you do manage to overcome these problems, your negative thoughts will show that you don't have much strength to do so. How we deal with these problems depends on how we think about them. If we think they can be handled, they will be. Pancho Gonzalez, a famous tennis player from the 1940s, is an example of this. Even though he wasn't the best player and was definitely an outsider, he still won a lot of championships during his career. How did he get it done? He never let himself get down when he lost. Instead, he always looked for good things that could happen and worked for them. And this way, we can solve every problem, because there are no problems that can't be solved. You just need to think positively and see what options are out there. Your mind is probably trying to tell you that there are problems you can't solve. But you can train your subconscious to be more positive. One way to do this is to change the way you talk about possible life outcomes, putting more emphasis on the good things and less on the bad. Again, mental training is important here. If you can stop thinking about bad outcomes, you can focus on what you can do and solve your problems. There are often more than one way to solve a problem, and you might not find it on your first try. If you keep your mind clear and focus on the good things, you're much more likely to find them. Main idea 8. How faith can help you solve problems, according to the Bible. People often think that the Bible and Christianity give vague advice or general rules for how to live. But the Bible's teachings can help you build a foundation for your thoughts and actions, which can help you think more positively and change your life in a much bigger way. In fact, biblical lessons are very useful, and if you follow them, they can help you solve many problems. The Bible tells us that instead of getting angry, we should try to see the best in other people. If you do these things, your life will be healthier and happier. For example, Bill and Mary, two of the author's friends, felt cheated when Bill wasn't given the job of his boss's retiring boss. They had been led to believe that Bill would take over for the boss, who was retiring. Based on what the Bible says, the author told him to let go of his anger toward the new boss and instead use his frustration as motivation to work even harder. Soon, the new boss got a better job, and Bill got a raise. This happened because of what the Bible says. But your faith can only help you succeed if you know what you want, where you want to go, and if it is right to want it. To find answers to these questions, you can pray, which can help you get rid of bad energy and give you new ideas. When you pray, you can get a bird's eye view of your problems. This gives you a better view from which to find solutions. But your faith can only lead you to these answers if the success you want is morally, spiritually, and ethically right. If the essence of the success you want is wrong, the result will also be wrong. Main point 9. Body and soul. Why all types of therapy should include faith. We know that the mind and body are closely connected. For example, when you're stressed, you might feel pain in your body. Our body's complaints don't always have clear medical explanations, either. In these situations, the problem is not the body at all, but the mind. We must take care of not only our bodies, but also our minds and spirits. Even though we shouldn't rely on faith alone to heal our bodies, God and the doctor will lead us to true health. In fact, some doctors the author knew had stopped prescribing traditional medicine in favor of religious and inspirational books. They did this to help their patients help themselves by developing a positive attitude and faith. In fact, the author and a psychiatrist ran a clinic together in New York City. There, they worked together to combine their treatments. They were able to get the best results because they shared their knowledge and understood both their own roles and skills and how important the others were. The power of the subconscious mind is why they were able to work so well together. The conscious mind may suggest sickness or even death, but the subconscious is where most of your mind is. This powerful part of your mind will send out radiant health energy if you let the picture of health sink into the subconscious. This is why faith is so important. If you believe in a higher power, you are more likely to really believe in the good things you think about your health. Healing and good health can come from having positive thoughts, but only if those thoughts are real. You have to have faith in your own physical and spiritual healing if you want it to happen. In conclusion, the main point of this book is, there are no problems in your life that can't be solved by the power of positive thinking, no matter how big they seem. You can make a happy, healthy life for yourself if you stay calm, put things in perspective, grow your faith, and focus on positive outcomes. Just remind yourself to keep going. Write yourself a note that says, "The hard times are only in your head," or "I believe victory, I get victory." We're glad you watched. With the link in the description box, you can get this book on Amazon. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and tell your friends and family about this video.